was the last 8 bars of How High the Moon, including the turnaround. In this video, I'm going to talk about some concepts that I've already covered before in this series of lessons, and also I'm going to talk about using chromatic passing notes and diatonic 7th chords. If you find these videos helpful and you haven't done so far, could you give it a thumbs up and subscribe? And also it really helps me if you share these videos on social media. The first bar that I want to look at is bar 3, where the chord is G major 7. I used 2 techniques there. The first one was the use of double appoggiaturas. I covered that in the last video in this series. If you haven't seen that video so far, I've put a link in the description below. And the other one was the use of creating inner movement by adding what Barry Harris called the 6th on the 5th. I covered that in lesson 4 in this series, and again I've put a link in the description below to that video. I also added 2 chromatic passing notes. So I'll come to the chromatic passing notes in a moment. We'll just cover the use of the appoggiaturas. So I played G major 7, and then I approached the 3rd of the chord, B, down there from a semitone below A sharp. So that's the appoggiatura going on to the chord note. And at the same time, I approached D, the 5th of G major 7, from C sharp, which is the appoggiatura. So you've got a double appoggiatura there. Played in tenths, which gives it, always works, in thirds and sixths and tenths. Now I went up to another 10th interval then, but I put the rest of the chord in. Now what we've got there is a G major 9 chord. So that's the major 7th, the 3rd, the 5th and the 9th. Now I'm using this concept that Barry Harris called adding the 6th on the 5th. So I'll just quickly recap what he meant by that. The 5th of G major 7 is D, and what he said was if you play a major 6th chord on the 5th, a D major 6th, and then move it to 1 major 6, G major 6, but revoice the note. So I'm going to play the G major 6 like that. Then we've got this lovely inner movement. The 9th is going to the root at the same time as the major 7th going to the 6th. Now, the chromatic passing notes that I put in were between the 9th and the root. So I went down a semitone, then to the root, and also in between the major 7th and the 6th. Now in the last video I was doing that just in single notes. This time I've left the B and the D in, and the interesting thing there, you've got a diminished 7th chord. If I put that B just there, it's a diminished 7th chord. Taking it to the G major 6th, and that takes you on to the A minor 7. I put A minor 7 flat 5 on the lead sheet. It should have been just A minor 7. In the 4th bar on the D7, I used a suspension. Now, I've covered the use of suspensions before in videos not in this series, but I have put a link in the description below anyway. So I played the A minor 7, and this is the voicing I started off on the D7 with. So the left hand has a nice 4th shape, root, suspended 4th and 7th. The right hand, root, suspended 4th and 13th. Now the left hand resolves to the 3rd, the 4th goes down a semitone, giving you an ordinary D7 chord, in the right hand, the top 3 notes just raise a semitone. Now when you play those on their own, that looks like a G major triad going to an A flat major triad. That's a voicing that's very often used. It's sometimes referred to as an upper structure triad. And again, I've talked about upper structure triads in previous videos. I've put a link in the description below. So now I want to skip on to the next to the last bar, G major 7. Now, remember major 7s, if you've got a major 7, you can always play a major 6. And when the root note is in the melody, you generally would play a major 6, because otherwise you're going to get the clash between the root and the major 7. So I played the major 7th on beat 1, and then I played some diatonic 7th chords. So I just want to talk about what they are. Diatonic 7th chords are chords built on every degree of a scale, using notes only from that scale. So we're in the key of G major, that's a G major scale. Build a chord on every note of that scale, using only notes from that scale, and you get G major 7, A minor 7, B minor 7, C major 7, D 7, E minor 7, F sharp half diminished 7s, or F sharp minor 7 with a flattened 5th. And you can use these when you've got a long melody note over a major 7th chord to create some movement. And you would often play them like this, with the root and the 5th in the left hand, and then the 3rd and the 7th in the right hand, like this. Or the other way, with the 7th and 3rd, a bit closer together. So I played the G major 6 first, and then I went on to A minor 7. That's the next diatonic 7th chord. Now I was going towards the next diatonic 7th chord, B minor 7, but I put 2 more chromatic passing notes in. I put A sharp taking me to B, and C sharp taking me to D. Now, if you look at that chord on its own, if I rearrange that, put the C sharp down there, I've got another diminished 7th chord, and that takes me to the B minor 7, and then back to A minor 7. Okay, hope you found that useful. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.